What's up, guys? Beanie Boys, episode 12 here. I'm pulling a DP today. Stomach flu got me yesterday. Don't want to give it to the boys. But we had some great things happen this past weekend. But before we get into that, guys, we got to throw it over to our boy drinking on the bourbon. We already got a little preview of it. Mac, what's the bourbon of the day, buddy?
Right here. We're
Just
thirsty today.
Mac on the Maker's Mark.
Cheers. Cheers, gentlemen.
I love
The
it.
Maker's Mark, Mac, is that?
Oh, he's sipping it too.
Yeah, that's celebrating the UK dub over the Gators.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
which is our first topic.
DP, speaking of that, some college hoops. Earliest game on the slate, I was worried when I was watching this game. Were you up in time to get your bets in?
Oh, of course I was. 10 a.m. tip. They said this was the earliest tip off in Rupp history, which, I mean, who cares about the NFL? Like, this game needed to be at 7 o'clock at night. I mean, this game was electric for a 10 a.m. tip. Rupp was rocking. Um, yeah, I hammered first half over, game over, both team totals, cleared that out of the water. I mean, it was just easy money that they gave us at 10 a.m. Like, that's just bad on the books. I mean, that's just I mean, if you weren't taking advantage of that, I don't know what you were doing.
106, 100, John. I mean, is that not what every fan wants to see?
Dude, this game was electric, bro. Shout out my aunt. She called me at 8:45, woke me up. So who knows why she was calling me, but it was a sign from the man above, dude, that it was time to get up and watch some basketball. So this was a gift. This was an absolute gift of a basketball game. And all I really got from this is that yes, Kentucky is good, but this Florida team is for real. I mean, they are for real. Elijah Martin just, how many turnaround fadeaways did he hit from 10 feet in the lane? I mean, it was back to back to back to back, and they just wouldn't go away. Walter Clayton, he was going off. I mean, this Florida team is seriously very, very good. I mean, other than their coach, which obviously, he's got his own problems, but they might need a new man in charge. But dude, this Florida team's for real. They might be worth a sprinkle to win the national championship.
Yeah, I know that they referenced, during the game that this was Martin versus Lamont Butler Final Four, rematch of last year. And these two guys did not disappoint in this game. I mean, like you said, this game was absolutely awesome. Mac being the UK guy, what are your thoughts on this dub at home, guys?
It's a good win. It was a game you actually had to have. I mean, you couldn't start conference playoff 0-1 at home and then have to go to Georgia and to Mississippi State to follow. You could have been staring 0-3 in the conference just right in the face. I don't think you're going to see very many road wins in the SEC this year, if I'm being entirely honest. I'm not ready to say I'm all in on Florida because they've still yet to beat a very good team in my eyes. And we'll see Tuesday night if they host Tennessee. That will be my test for Florida. I was impressed with how they played, but they seemed slightly outmatched.
So,
Yeah,
Mac,
shout out. I want to shout out real quick, Mr. Brea, dude. I mean, down the stretch in that game, just big shot after big shot. Every time Florida just kept inching closer, it seemed like Brea would hit a three, dude. And this game was awesome all around. This game was electric. So, I mean, more and more of this, we're going to see it in the SEC all year. Another one Tuesday night, Tennessee, Florida. It's going to be awesome. The SEC is by far the best conference in college basketball this year. But go ahead, back to you, Zach. I just had to give him a shout out because
no,
wow, can that boy shoot the rock?
no, yeah, no, it's good you brought that up because I was about to throw Mackie a question. Mackie, I've got like a two-part question for you again, buddy. One is Brea the best shooter in the country, and two, do you think he's gonna find his way into the starting lineup, or do you think he's gonna continue to be a true six man coming off the bench with that scoring ability?
To answer the first part of your question, statistically, he is the best shooter in the country from 3-point range. Um, until he proves me wrong, I think he is. He did it last year. He's backing it up this year. And no, I don't think they'll put him in the starting lineup. They brought him in to come off the bench and shoot threes. He's a fantastic shooter, but I don't think he has an all around offensive game. And he's a little outmatched on defense at times. So I think he's exactly what he had been his first 4 years at Dayton. He's a spark plug off the bench and can shoot it like the best player in the country.
All right, Mac. Well, thanks for that insight, buddy. We're going to our second matchup that kind of surprised me. but I think that this team was due for an ass beating, and why not do it against one of the best teams in the country? Going into this Oklahoma-Alabama game, Alabama ends up winning this game by 28, putting up 107 points, guys. I mean, we love Bama. DP loves Bama especially. They cash all of his bets, it seems like. But guys, I mean, I know this was a top 15 matchup, 5 versus 12. I mean, were we expecting this big of a blowout? What do we
I'm
think?
gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. This is my BYU of college basketball. Oklahoma is my BYU of college basketball. You know, it was only a matter of time. They were winning close games against very mid opponents. They finally go and they play Alabama, and they finally get what they had coming to them, which was an ass beating, as you put it correctly, Zach. Porter Moser finally got it, put it right where it belongs, dude. I mean, you know, Oklahoma, they're good. They can score all around, but I mean, these are two similar teams if you look at them. I mean, they're both up and down, run and gun. And Alabama, I mean, dude, this game wasn't even close. I looked at the line on it. We talked about it. It was what, 13 and a half. And I'm thinking, dude, I mean, this is the number 12 team in the country. They're going to cover 13 and a half points. And I mean, Alabama just ran them out of the gym. Alabama's got talent all over the floor, man. Marcus Sears could possibly be the best guard in the country. I mean, this Alabama team's a serious problem, and they're a prototypical March Madness team that if they get hot, bro, they can go on a run and do exactly what they did last year. So, you know what? I said it here first. You heard it here first. Oklahoma might struggle in the SEC this year.
Yeah, they were one of the three SEC teams that were undefeated going into this game. Obviously, Florida dropped that game, OU then dropped the game, and now Tennessee's the lone undefeated wolf. And as we said, we'll find out on the Super Tuesday if they can contend. But yeah, this game ended up cashing everything for me, both team totals, and the game over. Alabama just can run and gun, man. When they get hot, you don't want to see them. Like you said, they're going to be a dangerous team in the tournament and in the SEC tournament. I expect games with Alabama and Florida to be into the hundreds, man. I mean, those over-unders are going to be around 191 because all these teams, yeah, they can, play defense, but dude, they're just going to run and gun.
They
And
don't need to when
no,
they just want to outscore everybody. I mean,
yeah,
that's Nate Oates. That's what he tries to do. His guys don't even play defense. They just try to outscore you.
yeah. So, these SEC games are going to be crazy. I don't know if OU is as fraudulent as BYU in football. We'll have to see how the other tests go, when they play a team like Auburn, and Tennessee and stuff like that. So we'll just have to see. You guys, what are your guys' thoughts, on this Bama OU game?
I'll lead us off here. I'll say one thing, keep it short. Oklahoma's ceiling in the SEC is 9 wins. They're nothing more than that. They'll make the tournament unless they have an absolute collapse, which I don't think is completely impossible. But they call lightning in a bottle early in the year. I don't see this keeping up. And last night was the first crack you saw. It's going to be 1,000 little paper cuts for them in conference, and they are going to slowly slip down the seed line, and you guys will see it.
Um, yeah, kind of going off what Mackie said. I mean, we all respect the SEC conference in basketball this year as we see how tight it is, how the race is going to be tight coming to the end of the year. But I don't want us to necessarily be out on Oklahoma. I mean, let's be real honest, guys. If this is the only game where Alabama blows out somebody by 30, I'll be very surprised. This team is damn good at putting the ball through the hoop. And like DP just said, if they're hot, you might as well play the backups. I mean, there's nobody that can shoot like them in the entire country, in my opinion. And if you're trailing them when they're hot, good luck. You're drowning in points. And playing defense at that point is basically useless because they can hit from half court and it's and it's normal to them. But looking into Tuesday, guys, we have some exciting matchups. As we said last week, we're getting into the conference play. Super Tuesday, we picked out 3 games for you guys: Michigan, UCLA, Florida, Tennessee, and Pitt at Duke. Guys in the garage, I want you to give me your winners of these 3 games.
Yeah, you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Michigan UCLA is going to be a great game. UCLA's looked very good all year. They really had a statement win against Gonzaga. I'm going to take Michigan simply because of Golden and Wolf. I think their size is going to get to UCLA. Their guards are good enough. So I'm going to take Michigan to get a big win here. They need it. And their coach is great and Dusty May's great. So I look for this Michigan basketball team to really get rolling as Big Ten play gets started because, they're one of those teams that I think will compete. Florida, Tennessee, man, I keep saying Tennessee's fraudulent. I was spamming in the chat yesterday. Tennessee sucks. Um, Give me Florida at home, SEC at home. Florida's coming off a loss. Tennessee just blew out Arkansas. Give me Florida to win that game due to Walter Clayton Jr. making big plays towards the end of the game. Close, very physical, very high scoring basketball game. Pitt Duke, give me Duke. I mean, I think Pitt is one team in the ACC that will make the tournament, but this Duke team, they're too talented. They're far more talented than any team in the ACC. So give me Duke. So yeah, I'll go Michigan, Florida, Duke.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna clean sweep all the home teams. Give me UCLA at home. I think, for some of these Big Ten teams having to go from the Midwest out west midweek could be some troublesome. I don't, they're not really used to doing something like that until March. And I think, having this early, I think Mick Cronin's going to have those boys ready to play at home on Tuesday night, knowing that this Michigan team's a good team. So I'll take the Bruins there. I'm also in on Florida. This game, for the over under and stuff like that, it kind of scares me just because these two teams can play a physical brand of basketball, and this game could be in the 60s. But like you said, John, it could end up in the 80s, 90s, just because these teams can score. And then give me Duke. I think Pitt, like you said, will make the tournament, but Duke will probably have three of the best players on the floor at all times. So I think Duke handles Pitt relatively easily. What about you guys on the Zoom?
What do you think, Mac?
I am with DP completely. I'll keep it short. I like a clean sweep on all three home teams. With the only one that really threatens in my eyes is Florida. I think UCLA wins by 10. I think Duke wins by 15. And I think Tennessee Florida can come down to the last possession here. But I like Tennessee to squeak it out.
All right. Well, hurts me to say this, go figure, but I actually do have the same picks as John. Like he said, I love Golden and Wolf. I think those two are very hard to deal with. I mean, going to the Pavilion is hard to win in any certain circumstance, but you can give me Michigan there. And I do think that Florida hands Tennessee their first loss. Um, you can't stay undefeated for long, and when you're playing a top 10 team in the country in their own court. Um, I like to take the home court advantage there. And then, yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page with Duke here, guys. That team is for real, and we're going to be seeing them at close to the end of March. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think the only game that we differ on, guys, is that Michigan UCLA game. But either way, we're going to see three high-level basketball games on Super Tuesday. And then something we just want to throw out there to you guys is Creighton a tournament team without Pop Isaacs? And I'm going to throw this to you first, Matt, because I want to get your insight here real quick. Do you believe that Creighton is a tournament team without Pop?
No, I don't think so. I really don't see it at all. They've kind of fallen off a cliff in terms of the net rankings. Obviously, the AP poll, which really doesn't matter. But in terms of all the rankings, all the metrics, they've fallen off a cliff since he got injured and out for the year. They stayed a little bit in that game on Friday night at Marquette, which is a tough task, whether he was playing or not. But now they're sitting at 9-6. Um, no real bad losses. I will give them that. At Alabama, at Georgetown, at Marquette, Texas A&M, San Diego State, and Nebraska. No bad losses. Likely to five or six tournament teams, and even Georgetown's playing solid. But you got a 25-point loss to Georgetown. You have an 8-point loss to Marquette, and your only two wins. You won your home games against Villanova and St. John's, and St. John's was 57-56. So crucial stretch for them, but I don't see them as a tournament team without Pop Isaacs in there.
Yeah, Mackie, and I totally agree with you. And it's just weird to like not hear anything about Creighton on like social media and stuff. I mean, I'm not obviously a huge Creighton follower, but you always usually see Coach McDermott getting fired up, or I mean, Creighton's no walk in the park usually, and we're seeing all these highlights from other teams, and just been a lack of creating highlights, and we now know why. I believe that they're not going to be a tournament team either. I'm gonna throw it to the boys in the garage on what they think.
Yeah, Mac changed his mind. Last time we had this conversation, he said Creighton without Pop Isaacs was still an 8-9 seed. So he's definitely seen something here. And I say Creighton wasn't a tournament team, but I'm also going to change my mind. I think Creighton is definitely still a fringe bubble team. They still got Ashworth. They still got Kalkbrenner, a very weak Big East conference. So to me, honestly, I think Creighton's fringe bubble at the end of the year. I think they're battling to get in. But obviously, every home game to them that they play is so important. I mean, even from here on out, like they're almost in when they play at home this year, they are in almost must-win situations at home. But like I said, it's all about as far as Ashworth and Kalkbrenner can take them. And McDermott's a great basketball coach, so he's gonna get these boys ready to play. And I don't look for them to slump too much. And I could very well see them being like a 10-11 seed, maybe even playing in the first four in Dayton.
Yeah, that's exactly where I have them playing. I think they're going to be in the play-in in Dayton. But just for this Creighton team, they just have to take care of the mid-East opponents that are not good. They have to take care of the Xaviers, the DePauls, the Butlers, and maybe they could squeak one by a UConn, maybe they could squeak one by St. John's type stuff to, boost that win. But I think this team ends up being in the first four, trying to play for one of those last 11 seeds.
Yeah, so rolling in to what we're all fired up about, obviously, with three of our four teams hanging around in the college football playoff. But we gave some picks last week of some games, and the dogs were barking. Illinois, South Carolina game we went over, and the Michigan Bama game. And honestly, I was wrong about the South Carolina, but I was right about the Michigan. Both dogs in this game win. Um, but they're kind of boring. It just ended up being low scoring affairs, defense. But guys, I do have something to throw at you right real quick before you guys get into these two matchups. I mean, how poor did Jalen Milroe look out there against those Wolverines, guys?
It's
You sure you
three
want to get into
turnovers
this
and
right now?
it's 3 turnovers in the first 10 minutes. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I was obviously at the Winter Classic. I was enjoying my day. I didn't have very many eyes on either of these games, but I sat down at the bar and saw that headline and had to do a double take. And then I was like, yeah, kind of makes sense.
I'll be honest, he should go undrafted in the NFL draft unless he goes in there as a running back.
Yeah, I mean, DP, you've been saying it all year. He's been playing the wrong position. Were you tuned in for this Michigan Bama game, kid?
I was able to watch a little bit of it, not too much. Based on these two games, it just seems, the 9-3 SEC teams that should have made the playoffs can't even beat mid-level Big Ten teams. I guess that they just weren't, motivated.
SEC ain't the SEC anymore, safe to say.
Yeah,
Is it safe to say that the SEC is not as dominant as the SEC once was?
yeah.
I mean, that's two Big Ten teams beating two teams that everybody said should have been in the playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guess what, Saban? You were wrong. You were wrong, Saban. DP,
Saban, I
we'll
guess
get
that
into this when we talk Michigan Bama and we break this game down. But Saban was wrong. The SEC is no longer the big beast of college football. I'm sick of hearing it. I hate SEC biased people. Jake Mayo, you're a bum. And yes, I just cannot stand people who meat ride the SEC. I cannot take it. So this was awesome to see both of these teams beat these SEC teams.
Johnny,
Yeah.
it's safe to say that Shane Gillis made a very wise point. When all teams can pay players, there's not going to be one head dog. Well, it's true, Saban. Screw your Bama boys and shout out Parker Gleam that was out there in that tsunami. Your boys can't play in a little bit of rain. That's pathetic.
They should be used to it being from down south.
I know. But yeah, do you guys have any insight you guys want to put in on these two games or something you're surprised with?
Illinois all year. Rhett Bielema, kid, all year. Just fight,
Luke Altmaier,
scrappy,
bro. Altmaier.
fight, scrappy team, man, all year.
One thing that I did notice that I think a lot of coaches in college football are fed up with the SEC bullshit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Sherrone Moore was ready to, box Beamer, you know, at mid or DeBoer at midfield, and then Bielema and Beamer going at it about the guy who had injured or whatever, and I just think that they're fed up with them thinking that they're entitled to something. Well, you know what? Don't lose the 6-6, Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. Don't lose the teams that you're not supposed to lose to, but they do, and they complain about their gauntlet of a schedule. Kirby Smart, you suck ass. Just complain some more, and it's just crazy how the SEC thinks that they're entitled to everything because they're the SEC. Well, guess what? Everyone can pay millions of dollars to people now legally. Good job, Nick. Thanks, Shane Gillis. But it's over with now for them.
Dude, yeah, one thing I want to point out. We all know I hate Michigan. Sherrone Moore, what a coaching job this year. What an absolute coaching job. That their season could have went so sideways, dude. I mean, they're in a rebuilding year coming off a national championship. You lose one of the best college coaches of all time, a great NFL coach, just Jim Harbaugh, great coach. Sherrone Moore single-handedly won. He was not going to let them lose against Ohio State. He coached that game to perfection. And then he went in against Bama and coached that game to perfection again. He knows his offense doesn't have it. So what's he do? He relies on field position, he relies on clock management, and he relies on his defense. And it worked both times. And everybody can sit here and slander, oh, Michigan had 5 losses this year. They ended their season beating Ohio State and Alabama. I mean, just what a coaching job by Sherrone Moore. Shout out him. I mean, that was awesome to see. And I hate Michigan, but shout out Sherrone Moore. That was incredible. And I wonder what you thought about that, Zach, because just, dude, his management in these games was just crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far into these two matchups because I obviously have a lot to say about the Irish. But something that I do want to say is seeing Milrow struggle is like candy. I mean, I love seeing these Wolverines play defense, take the ball from that Alabama offense 3 times in a row. I mean, I personally was on the first half under, so it sucked, but it got to the point where I didn't care. And like you said, John, Moore knows how to coach. And really, it showed because there is not one position. I mean, yeah, in my opinion, besides maybe the defensive tackles, but I'm not sure if they were playing that game. Alabama's got them beat at every skill position. And I only call it defensive tackle skill position because those guys are going to the NFL. I mean,
Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, and Will Johnson did not play in that football
what I
game.
mean, they were down 3 starters on defense, and I mean, this Alabama team looked like a Pop Warner team in the mud. It was pathetic. But I'm ending this talk right now, and we're heading to the quarter final recap. Boys, I was wrong about one game, and Mackey texted me when they were down 23-6, and Buddy about ate his words and should have. College committee, it is embarrassing that that targeting call wasn't called and that my boy Scadaboo is not dancing his way into the semifinals. I called the Irish, I called Ohio State, I called Arizona State, and I called Penn State. I should have went 4 for 4. Mackey, you're a bum. You're a Quinn Ewers wiener rider. And to be honest, I'm right. ASU and the Scadaboo boys should be into the next round. And I want to hear something stupid that you have to say. Yeah.
Yeah. 8-0. My picks, 8-0. You had two of missed field goals from Burt. That guy sucks. Take his scholarship away if he's even on one. That guy almost cost his team the entire season. Yeah, so should have been targeting. I know that. But they shouldn't have been in the game to begin with. They caught lightning in a
They also
bottle.
shouldn't have let him convert on 4th and 13.
He dropped the
Exactly
ball.
my point.
Did he?
If you watch the replay when he's going on the ground, he bobbles it. I don't know if anyone's seen that.
I did see that on TikTok, the talk.
I mean, let's be honest, though. I mean, all Texas did was save Arizona State from an ass beating on Friday night.
Oh, here we go. John,
I
give us your
mean,
recap. No, I'm not listening to this. Give us your recap real quick.
yeah, I went 4-0. I took the Irish, I took Texas, I took the Buckeyes, and I took Penn State. I'm smart. I'm a genius. Go figure. I went 4-0. My national champion is still alive. You know, the the game that really stood out to me was Arizona State, Texas. I thought it was a great football game. I thought Arizona State looked like they belonged. I think Texas proved that they're fraudulent again against a team that was picked to finish last in the conference, by the way. So, like, you know what? The biggest thing to me about that game was that Texas just let them hang around. They always let teams come back in the second half of football games. And, shout out my boy Future. He was sweating, dude. He could barely even handle that game. I mean, it was electric. Zach was laughing, dude. You could tell he was losing his mind. So that was an awesome game. Notre Dame rock fight, like everybody said. It was a great game. Marcus Freeman again coached that game to perfection. Um, I thought the quarterback looked good for Georgia. Um, Shout out to Drake Bowen. He was all over the field in that game. Notre Dame's defense showed up in a big way. Their corners didn't allow anything big. Um, Ohio State, there's not much to talk about. It was a blur. It was obviously a talent thing. I mean, they went out there and you looked up, it was 30 to nothing. I mean, just absolutely just demolished Oregon. Finally, Dylan Gabriel gets sent home, and I could stop hearing about him. Shout out Tez Johnson, hell of a career. I love him. I'll always respect him. And then Boise State, Penn State, I was drunk. I was here and there watching it. JT didn't get too loose. The Penn State defense showed up, and the better team won.
Yeah. I went 3-1, ate the words with the Oregon, and I respect it. It's about time, that we talked, John, that this is like the first time the last 2 weeks that Ohio State has finally showed up to play, a complete football game. And, that game versus Texas for them, that's going to be a crazy game. I think whoever controls the line of scrimmage is going to win the game. But I think Ohio State has Texas beat on the outsides with, Jeremiah Smith would probably be the first pick in the draft this year, coming out as a freshman. Kid's absolutely nuts. Uh, I think Arizona State did get robbed. I did play Texas for our picks. Crazy game. I was watching that one in the Caesar Sportsbook down in New Orleans for the Notre Dame game. The Penn State game, as we said, the better team just won the game. I think that Arizona State might belong more than Boise State, but I would like to see those two teams match up. I think that'd be a crazy game to have, Scadaboo versus Genti. Now to the game that I was at, I was in New Orleans
Boots,
for
boots on the ground.
Yep, I was in New Orleans for a couple days. It was a lot of fun. Prayers for everyone who was affected by the tragedy. That was kind of crazy to wake up to. New Year's Day, then canceling the game and everything like that. It was kind of just a crazy experience. But the game happened. We had great seats. Enjoyed the whole time. I couldn't eat during the game. I really didn't want to. Uh, really couldn't drink during the game. I was sitting there, on pins and needles, worried about it. But this was a defensive game for Notre Dame, as it has been most of the years, and it won them the game. The strip sack at the end of the first half, and then that led to a touchdown. That was huge, and then followed up by the kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, they scored 17 points in 54 game seconds, and that'll do it. I mean, Georgia had a chance. They had the big play, then had the sideline interference, and as I was talking to you guys, it was not surprising that that happened. Kirby Smart is on the field after every single play, complaining to the referees. He is one of the most annoying head coaches in college football. I absolutely hate him. I despise him. It's just everything is a problem when it doesn't go his way, especially in the post game. Him complaining about, the SEC told me they can't run 11 guys off, 11 guys on. Well, read the rule book, you dumbass. No one touched the football for Notre Dame, so they can run 11 on and 11 off. Like, you finally get out coach and you just go bitch and complain. I'm not surprised whatsoever. And I'm so glad that they got sent home. All you idiots, go bark your ass back to Athens. I mean, just absolutely insane fans who are just complete idiots. Drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. What's coming down the tracks? It's Notre Dame, and get the off the tracks. Go Irish.
Go Irish. But to wrap this up, guys, we're gonna give our two semifinal picks, our championship winner, and then we're gonna throw it to Mackie for the low-hanging fruit. And I'm gonna lead us off. I've been riding this the whole finals. It's going to be Ohio State, Notre Dame in the national championship. And I obviously got to do the thing with my heart. As long as we can slow down that Randy Moss that they got over there, I think we got a good chance. I don't think that Will Howard is that great of a quarterback, but I do think they're going to have the best play. I do think they're going to have the best player on the field. So you can give me the Irish to win the national championship against Ohio State. John?
Yeah, obviously I'll take Ohio State. I'd be safe taking that spread at minus 20 and a half. They're gonna roll Texas. And then in the other game where they're playing for second place, I'll take Penn State in a rock fight. I don't want to pick against Notre Dame. I just think they're the same team, and I think Penn State's a little better. Um, but all around, I think that'll be a great game. So I got Penn State, Ohio State as I had at first, and Ohio State will win by 40. I mean, it's not going to be close. These games aren't going to be entertaining when Ohio State's playing down the stretch. They're going to walk to a national championship.
DP?
Yeah, as I said in the recap, I think that this Ohio State Texas game is going to be one in the trenches. I think if Texas can, withhold the banged up line from Ohio State, it could be in for a long night. If I'm Texas, I'm making Will Howard throw the ball 45 times to win the game. And, if you can double cover, Randy Moss, Jeremiah Smith out there, and you will live and die with a 900-yard receiving game out of Emeka Ibuka, because I think those two are the only two that are really threats. If you can withhold the running game, I mean, Quinshon's a way better running back than Trayvon Henderson. We've been saying it. Um, so I think that if Texas can control the line of scrimmage, they'll win the game. But I think Ohio State wins this game in a close one. Close one. I'm thinking, 34-31. I think Ohio State makes a play at the end of the game to win the game. I think that, everyone's so hell-bent on these defenses and how good they are. But as we've seen in the past, it seems to be that offense will win the championship for, most of these games. I mean, how many of the last national championship games have been, in the 30, 40 point range? And then I'm taking Notre Dame. I think that they're, as John said, them and Penn State are, equally teams. I think that, they're built on defense and how they, move on offense is relatively similar. I think Drew Aller is the better passer, but Riley Leonard with his legs will make plays. Obviously, he was getting to the edge against, Mr. Five Stars from Georgia, and they weren't even catching him. So I think that, Dylan Gabriel had some success running the ball in the Big Ten championship versus Penn State. So this is a 20 carry game for Riley Leonard. Give me Notre Dame, Ohio State. Then I'm taking my, obviously I'm going to take my team to win. Close one again. I think it'll be close. Notre Dame 21, Ohio State 17.
Do either of you actually think Notre Dame could beat Ohio State?
You didn't care if they lost to Tennessee, and now you're all hyped because they're finally winning games.
I'm okay if they lose.
Hey,
I'm okay if they lose.
Hey,
I'll be fine.
Tamaki.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
No, I'm not picking Ohio State. Give me the Longhorns 31-30. Ohio State ain't played a defense like this. Ohio State ain't played a defense like this until they played Penn State, who has a defense like Texas, put up 20, and they had a pick six. Their offense ain't going to move the ball enough to win this game. Give me Texas 31-30, and then you can give me Notre Dame 23-17 over Penn State. Give me Texas over Notre Dame 17-14 in the national title.
Wow. I love
Those
it.
is picks.
You are such a damn idiot, dude.
Mackie with the
Hey,
curveball.
JP, I'm 8-0 right now. Are you 5-3, 4-4? What are you?
Mackie, Ohio State's going to beat Texas by 30.
Hey,
You
but we
think
do
that-
gotta wrap. We do gotta wrap it up, Max. So give us your low hanging fruit. Pick one.
Come on, pick one. Texas +6.
Yeah, yeah.
Kidding me?
Nobody, please, everybody save your money and do not take that bet.
Yeah.
Mackie, I love it. But
We're not-
we're wrapping it up here. We're wrapping it up, Mackie. What a great way to end this episode. That I didn't see that coming at all, but wow, did that fire me up. Hey guys, stay tuned. We have a guest speaker coming up on this next episode. The boys haven't met him yet. Excited for them to meet him. But episode 12, guys. Beanie Boys out.
Mackie's an idiot.